Hello and welcome to yet another Sit and Talk. How are you, Deacon?
I'm well, actually. We were just talking, me, about trimming my beard. That's what happens when you know you're in a lockdown, when beard trimming becomes a topic of conversation. And I'm now back into Pokemon Go because it's getting me walking.
And Walker Talk ain't doing that for you, no?
Well, sitting talking. When I go back to the walking and talking, then that's great. But for now, I need to get my walking fix.
That's
you know.
We have a very, very special guest on today.
That's it. We very much do.
But obviously, we are delayed in.
Yes, talking, so we apologise for the delay.
Due to the fact of a storm up north. I'm not too sure where Chris lives, but we have Chris Kirkland today, who is next to Liverpool, Sheffield Wednesday, England goalkeeper. Very. I'm looking really forward to talking to him.
I've got lots of great questions. Obviously, we'll talk about the main topics and stuff, but I've got some funny questions as well that I'd love to be able to pick his brain about. So we'll ask them towards the end of the pod to sort of raise the mood, because obviously we want to talk about. We want to obviously talk about the darker sides of things as well, because we need to shed light on men's mental health, and it's very important. And it's an amazing fact that Mr. Kirkland is coming on to have a conversation with us on Sit and Talk. So that's fantastic stuff.
Definitely. And I don't know if you've all noticed, but if you look down here, you will see there's added a website. We have a website.
Oh, we do. Oh, yes. You need to go and check that out, guys. It's gone live today. Lee's been ripping his hair out during the process of it. It looks fantastic, guys. It's really sleek. Really easy to navigate as well.
Thank you to David, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, Palace fan, who's put a lot of effort into
lovely
it.
Lovely guy, Dave.
As well as my better half, doing massive work on it. So thank you both of you two for that. It's been amazing. But without further ado, I think we should
let's get him on.
So let's get him on. Hello, Chris. How are you, sir? It might be a bit delayed.
Chap, sure, that's better. I can hear you now. Yeah, we've just had a horrendous storm, and I'm up in Liverpool. We lived up here since we moved up in 2001. So there's a big thunderstorm going through at the minute that's ruining the signal.
It's always the way, isn't it? Always the
way. Yeah, England's getting hit by a big thunderstorm at the moment, and it's just making its way throughout the entirety of Britain, and we're just getting hit bad everywhere, to be honest.
There is a slight delay. So
yeah, it's just, I think it was bad, and I thought it was going away, but it looks like it's just started to tip it down again. So I'm hoping it's not going to cut us off again.
No problem. We'll do our best. We'll do our best with what we've got.
So, Chris, first of all, we're here. Obviously, we've spoken to each other regarding what I do, Walker Talk, men's mental health, getting men walking and talking. Obviously, we had Marvin Sordell on last week, who's a big champion for men's mental health, and obviously yourself. It's an absolute pleasure to have both of you on. I just really want to go into depth as to you, Chris. Who is Chris?
Great question.
Wants to know who Chris is. We see Chris Kirkland, the goalkeeper. He's in the sticks. You give him abuse, you cheer him on, whatever side you are on. Personally for me, I like to know the person as an individual. Obviously suffering from mental health, you've been quite vocal about it, which again is top notch. And I personally, fighting this for 5 years, can't thank you enough for reaching out and understanding that this is a massive, huge problem. I just want to start. Where do we start? Probably the beginning, really. I think Deacon's got a few questions for you regarding your time.
I do.
Nice little questions.
That's it. I just wanted to find out what Chris Kirkland was all about, because we see you on telly, or we see you in games, and I'm an avid Arsenal fan, so the little bit of a spat between you and Henri would be quite an interesting thing to talk about a bit later on and stuff like that. Just funny things. But you had a fantastic career, obviously being the most expensive British goalkeeper of all time when you made the move to Liverpool in 2001, which obviously you've told us now that you've stayed there, living there ever since. So obviously they've got a place in your heart. But starting in Coventry, making your way to obviously Liverpool, as I said, and then moving on to West Brom and then Wigan, going all the way up to 2016 to Bury, which is obviously where you decided to sort of, right, I think that's it now, going into the coaching career. So obviously we'll talk about that. But what was it like being so young at the age of 20 years old to make such a huge move to Liverpool? It's a pretty big club. What was it like for yourself? How were you able to handle the mental stresses of being able to go through a situation like that?
Well, to be honest, I got asked that question a lot, and I didn't feel any pressure at all. I think when you're younger, you don't. It's not until you get older and you realise some of the games you're playing in, the magnitude of the games you're playing in. But no, it didn't faze me at all. I mean, I've always been a Liverpool fan. My first game was, my dad took me up when I was 7 to Anfield, and we used to stand in the Kop in them days. So I've always supported Liverpool. It was the only team at the time I would have left Coventry for. I loved it at Coventry. We'd just been relegated in the 2001 season, which was obviously very tough. And I wanted to stay and help us get back up. But, I had offers from other teams and turned quite a few down, and so did the club. But they knew that I was a Liverpool fan. And when a team like Liverpool comes, and when you are a fan of Liverpool, standing in the Kop in them days, when I used to, when I was 7 years old, 88 was my first game, 1988. So it was hard leaving Coventry because I was playing. Wanted to stay because we'd just been relegated, wanted to get us back up, but I couldn't turn Liverpool down. So it was, but it was, I mean, I must admit, it was daunting. I've always been a home person, and that's where the struggles come later on with mental health. I've always been a home bird. I've always liked my home comforts. I feel comfortable when I know that I'm going to be home at this time and that time. And so the thought of leaving home, I was still young, just nearly 20. I had my girlfriend Leo and a wife now. We've been together for over 20 years. So wow. I think it would have been a lot harder if she wasn't there when I moved up to Liverpool. But I mean, even when I was up there, the deal was, it was day before deadline day, and we've gone up, we've all travelled up to Liverpool, had a medical, everything was fine there. And then there was just a couple of snags still that had to be sorted out between the two clubs. And I was still like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can move away from home. I don't know if I'm good enough for Liverpool. The doubts come into it like that. And again, it comes to the biggest thing was I didn't want to leave where I was from. I didn't want to leave home. I had friends there, obviously family there. That's all I'd knew for 20 years, living down in Leicestershire. And it wasn't until I asked to go down to the pitch. I asked Rick Parry, who was the chief exec at Liverpool at the time, and he actually said to me, he says, "You okay?" And I just said, "Oh, I'm just nervous. I'm really nervous." And he says, "Well, listen, whatever you need, we're here for you. We can do anything." He says, I said, "What? Can I go down to the pitch?" And because we was up in the offices, up in some of the boxes, that's where you sign your contracts when you go to Liverpool. And he said, "Yeah, come on, I'll take you down." So we went down onto the pitch, and I had a little look around, and then I went and sat where I used to stand as a kid when I was 7 years old. I mean, it was standing back in them days, but obviously there was seats. So I went and sat in exactly, and every time I go now back to Anfield, I always look over, and I'm literally 50 yards away now from where I used to stand as a kid, and I always look over, and I always remember watching games. And my dad, back in them days in the Kop, there used to be like a bollard sort of thing, it used to protect when the Kop used to go, when they scored, everyone just piled forward. So they used to put like these barriers up, and my dad always used to stand me in front of one of them. So obviously when Liverpool scored, I wouldn't get sort of in amongst the melee. So I always look back, even when I go back now, and I can see myself as a kid with my dad. So, and as soon as I sat down, the feelings that's why I went to Liverpool for, to watch them, and the thought of growing up as a kid wanting to play for Liverpool. And as soon as I sat down, I just said, "Yeah, come on, let's get it signed," and we signed. And it was just, it's still to this day one of the, my debut for Coventry was massive. Your first game as a professional is always huge, but then the highlight of my career was signing for Liverpool. And as I said, being a fan, I'm still heavily involved with the club now. The club they're an incredible club. They really are. They look after past players. They, since all the mental health stuff's come out, they've been on the phone. They've been on the phone constantly, asking if I need anything to help. Wow. I do a lot of the commentary games for them. I do a lot with LFC TV. And now I'm just about to join LFC Foundation, doing a lot of stuff in the community with mental health, with children, with different football groups and veteran centres. And during this COVID period, we've been doing a lot with food banks and places like that, helping unpack food and deliver food. So, I mean, Liverpool Foundation for me, because I've had a lot of offers to go back into football, and I did it a couple of times. But when you go into football as a coach, it is 24/7. You've not got any time to yourself, and it's very unstable as well. You can be in a job and your manager could get sacked after a few games, and you could be out of it. So, this is what I can't wait to do this with Liverpool Foundation. And I've just joined. I got an offer to help Colne FC out in the non-league, which surprised a few people when I accepted it. But it just fits into my schedule perfectly. It's on a Tuesday and Tuesday training and Thursday nights, and then games on Saturday. And all the away games, are pretty local to where I live. So when I'm not involved with Liverpool, which they know if I'm at a Liverpool game or I'm doing something for Liverpool, that takes priority. But I still need my football fix, and I still miss the changing room, still miss the coaching side of it. So, Colne have given me an opportunity and the gaffer, and I can't wait to get started with that. We're looking at pre-season on the 11th of July. So we're just putting all the plans in place now. And but the foundation work, I'm really excited about that. We were just getting into a groove before COVID. We were going into prisons and putting on sessions in prisons and stuff like that. So, and then it all got stopped. So we've been doing a lot of virtual stuff online with the foundation and doing a lot of charity stuff, and obviously then with going to the food banks and helping stuff like that. So they're a wonderful foundation. I didn't know it all started with them when I got asked to go down to a kick session where there was about 150 kids there. They said, look, can you come down, just say hello to the kids and maybe have a kick around with them? I said, yeah, not a problem. So I went down, loved it, absolutely loved it, and asked a few questions, and can I come back next week? And they were like, yeah, of course you can come whenever you want. And I thought that was just it. I thought that's what the foundation did. Just did a few sessions, coaching sessions here and there, and going into schools and bit. But then I got intrigued, and they asked me, said, look, are you interested? We would love to have you on board with us. So I went down for a meeting with them, and they showed me what they did, and it blew me away. There's like 24 different projects all over Merseyside, ranging from everything, like I said, in schools, in veteran centres, in prisons, the vulnerable people, the disabled people, everything they do just blew me away. And I said, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to join you. I want to help you. And I want to work across all these different projects. So I'm lucky that they want me to help them. And then with all the Liverpool TV stuff as well, and the club, I'm lucky I can go down and I can watch training. I can, I'm in and around the players quite a bit. So it's just a magical club.
No, that's phenomenal. Reaching out and understanding, and the football club is a massive part of the community, and I don't think people realise that. It sounds like Liverpool are massively realising that.
I'm blown away by that. The fact that Liverpool are evolving and changing with the times and wanting to be more involved in all of those different areas. I think that was definitely something that I was very not surprised, I guess, but very welcomely wanting to hear something like that, because we were worried that football was staying quite old fashioned, but it's great that it's changing with the times and helping out with things like mental health and helping the community, just like you were saying, Lee. I think that's great.
I think it's superb. Every club should do their part in it. I think reaching out and understanding that a lot of fans are struggling, whether that be mental health, food banks, or so forth. Reaching out and understanding that, being there as a beacon. People look up to you, and fair play to you, Chris, for reaching out and doing your part. You can't beat non-league football. If I'm honest, I love non-league football. My local team, I love them to pieces. They do so much for me and what I believe in. A great team, Haywards Heath. So hopefully we get you in some sort of competition and we can have a great old laugh. But we go back to, I want to ask you a question regarding an incident when you was at Sheffield Wednesday with Leeds fans. Having watched that myself that evening, it really hit home to me how vulnerable you were as a goalkeeper or as a player, how vulnerable you were to this sort of madness. It just blew my head that someone could do this. How did you feel within yourself after that? Obviously, you got your back towards the Leeds fans for the rest of the game. Were you nervous? How did you feel within yourself?
I mean, the game was on a Friday night, which it should never have been on a Friday night. Liverpool, Sheffield Wednesday, Leeds, local derby. You know, Friday night to have that game's just silly. People have been out drinking, you know, all day before it. And it was hostile. It was probably one of the most hostile ones, apart from when I played for Liverpool in Galatasaray. It was you know, It was electric, and for the wrong reasons though. It was poisonous. It was, you know, it was evil atmosphere at times, and it obviously boiled over with what happened with a Leeds fan, and then after that it was. I mean, I think they scored with 13 minutes to go. The incident obviously happened, and after that it was. I just wanted to get off the pitch. It was. I mean, it just turned to some of the stuff that was being said to us, and you know, to my family, while the game was still going on, was just. It was a nightmare. But to be honest, the hardest thing about it was going back to Ellen Road the hardest thing was going back to Ellen Road 3 months after to play at Leeds after what's happened. I mean, you know, it's one thing having 6,000 Leeds fans baying for you, but going to Ellen Road when there's 35,000 fans after you is
I couldn't imagine.
It was a tough day, and got a lot of death threats leading up to it. You know, got a lot of me and my family both had them. I got told to not to step foot in Leeds. You know, there was a lot of fans that were gunning for us. They had to put security outside the hotel where we stayed at night because there'd been threats made against me at the hotel. Got to the game, and then there was just as I was going out to warm up, so it was about 2:00. A few policemen come down the tunnel and stopped us and said, "Look, you know, we've had threats made against you at the game today, so we're going to have to put, you know, police on your post, sort of thing, by your goal. So there's going to be a lot of police in and around your goal area." Which, you know, I can understand why they did it, but being told that before you're going to go and play a game of football, it should never happen. It should not be part of football, and it was tough. Then them 90 minutes.
Please come back, Chris.
The stick that I was to my wife was, you know, I can't repeat some of the stuff. It was horrendous. So you do, and the club, Sheffield Wednesday, as a club, are brilliant. You know, the football world was great with me as well. They supported me, the PFA, obviously, but yeah, something like that should never happen on a pitch. And unfortunately, fans, you know, you get fans at every club, bar Liverpool and a few other clubs. You get fans at some clubs that think they're above the law, and they take it beyond football, and it should never be that way. But unfortunately, it is, and I think that unfortunately at some clubs that'll always be the same. You know, Leeds is very hostile ground.
Very hostile. Yeah.
You know, they've obviously got passionate fans, but they went, you know, that what you know, one individual did, and then all the chants was really hard to take, but you know, we moved on, and we crack on with it.
Oh, massive fair play to you, mate. I generally don't think I could ever have done that. I generally don't think, you know, you could scream whatever you want at me, bring my missus, bring my children into it. To me, that is a no-go area. It's just like, you know, I like a little bit of banter, you know, a little bit of a laugh. Oh, keeper, you're rubbish, you're this, you're that. And he turns around, pulls off an amazing save and looks at you and smiles. And you go, fair play to you, mate. Fair play, you've done one over me. To me, that's fine. I'm happy with that. But bringing family into it is, mate, that to me is just not good at all.
In connection to that, Chris, in 2016 when you were at Bury, I think you may have done a piece. I don't know if it was in the Independent, but we were talking about how you were battling with depression for a number of years. In the article, it says 4 years. Whether it's completely true or not, I'm not sure. But it does whittle back to the 2012 year. So I don't know if that particular incident may have been the straw that broke the camel's back situation, or if it was the situation that actually led on to you not feeling great mentally.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, to be honest. I mean, it started before that. So when I moved up to Liverpool in 2001, I was at Liverpool 5 years, and then I was at Wigan for 6 years. So I lived in the same area. You know, it's 15 minutes to Liverpool, 15 minutes to Wigan. I could drop, you know, when Lucy was born, I could pick her up drop off at school, pick her up from school. So I had a routine, and it was easy. You know, I was never more than 20 minutes away from home. And, you know, I knew my schedule. I had a routine every day. You knew when you was training, you knew what days you were off. So you could plan your life sort of thing. And then when I moved to Sheffield Wednesday, it just all flipped on its head. I was having to leave, like people do, have to leave early to commute. I was having to leave at like 5:15 in the morning to get to Sheffield. I was the first in training at 7 in the morning. There was no one there. You know, and I was worried about getting home because I was far from home. I was anxious. You know, I was missing stuff with Lucy's school. I was missing stuff that I would normally be doing the previous 11 years. You know, just simple things like walking the dog or at certain times of the day, or, you know, going for lunch with Leona. So my routine completely changed, and you know, particularly the winter months, they were hard when it's dark in the mornings and cold and you're travelling, and, you know, I mean, the route to Sheffield is tough at the best of times, you know, over Woodhead and Snakes Pass. I don't know if you've ever done it, but it's a nightmare at the best of times, and it can take you a long time. There's a lot of smashes on that road. There's a lot of delays, and the road gets shut a lot. So, like I said, my routine just completely changed, and I started to, like, when you're in the car on your own as well and you're not feeling great, things just escalate. And it was 4 years. It built up over the 4 years from 2012. And then things happen as well in your life, like everybody does. You know, you mentioned there the Leeds incident, which, yeah, it wasn't nice, but it wasn't a major factor. You know, it's not something now I think about every day. It's only when it gets brought up by when I do interviews and stuff. So that's not really, you know, I'm big enough to deal with that sort of thing. But it was more like, you know, we lost a good friend. I lost my dog after 14 years, and, you know, he was my get out after games. I'd take him out for massive walks. When Lucy was born, we'd go disappear for hours, and, you know, I'd push her in the pram and a dog, and things happen in your life as well. And then it just, because you're not feeling great when bad things happen, and, you know, upsetting things, it just adds to it. But I've always said, if it wasn't for Sheffield Wednesday as a club and the fans, like Liverpool fans, they're just amazing. I mean, it's a special club. Obviously, the links there, yeah, they are. I mean, the links there, obviously, for bad reasons with Hillsborough, but the two clubs are very connected. You know, there's a lot of hurt with what happened, obviously, at Hillsborough, but the two clubs are very similar in that, where the fans are just so passionate, but in the right way. They don't boil over. They don't do silly things. You know, they don't disgrace the club like some fans do. So, you know, I was lucky to play for some very good teams, but, you know, fans are everything in football. Without fans, I mean, just started watching the game earlier on, and it's just so weird not to see any fans at games, because fans make football. But yeah, it started in 2012 and gradually built up, and until 2016 when I was it. Yeah, I was it. I mean, I tried to. I come back in. I was going to sign a new deal in 2015-16 at Wednesday, because, you know, I won Player of the Year, and I was, you know, a big part of the squad, and I loved it there, and, you know, they treated me really well. But I just couldn't sign a deal. I was in my training kit first day pre-season. I thought, no, I need to get closer to home. And thinking that if I got closer to home, it would reverse the cycle with the way I was feeling. You know, I was thinking, right, I'll get close to home, I can get back into that routine. But, you know, 3 years had passed, and you can't just turn the clock back, and you can't turn the tap off, as I say, and everything go back to normal. And it didn't, unfortunately, and just got worse and worse, even when I was closer to home, because your brain just starts to train you that way, and that's the way you think. You think you're down, you don't want to socialise, you don't want to, you know, I was not doing it. I was turning my phone off, I was ignoring friends, I was not wanting to do anything. You know, I'd literally come home from training, shut the gates and shut the world off, sort of thing. So it was a tough testing time, but knew I needed to do something about it, and eventually asked for help, and it started there with the PFA. They were great. They helped us, and things got a lot better for about a year and a half. But then I started to miss football, miss the dressing room, miss what I've done for 19 years, where you had that routine of being a footballer and, you know, the privileged position that we're in. But I just missed everything about it, and yeah, started to feel withdrawing again, and not really sure why. And then I thought, well, I don't want to go back to where I was. So I checked into a rehabilitation centre in was it July 19, to really get to the bottom of things, and it was the best thing I ever did.
Wow.
You know, it was tough, really tough. I was in there with a lot of other people, listening to their stories, and it was really tough to start with, but it was the best thing I could have done. And I'm an ambassador for the place now, Parkland Place in North Wales. I mean, I tried to get into Sporting Chance through the FA, but I rang them and said, look, I need to come in. I'm not feeling great, but there was like a 3-month waiting list to get in, and I thought I can't wait that long. So me and my wife just started Googling places up in the north. I wanted to be close-ish to home as well. I didn't want to be miles and miles away, hours away, because I knew I'd be anxious and I knew I wouldn't really settle in. So we found a place like an hour from home, which I could actually come home at nights if I wanted to, but I had to be back there in the morning. And I thought, there's no way I'm staying over because I'm such a home person. I thought, there's no way I'm staying over. I'll be back every night. But after a couple of days, I thought, I'm going to stay over here. And I started staying over. Then after the sessions finished at night, we'd all sit outside and chat and talk to each other and share our experiences. And it was a beautiful place where we were as well, Colwyn Bay. It's right by the beach, and there's some lovely walks we had. And it was the best thing I ever did. And then thankfully, it saved me big time.
No, massively. You've gone into mass depth there, mate. I just want to really take you back to pre-season in Portugal 2016 with Berry, I believe. Obviously, the website's out today. I talk about quite openly about my own struggles and everything. I wanted to end my life. I didn't want to be here. Hence the reason why I kick-started this many years ago. I know the position you were in when you were on top of that. The villas that you were staying in, when you was on top of that feeling is something that I don't like, something that I don't want anybody to ever feel. It is just proper, I can't think of what. It's just so soul destroying to be there. It's how well, that's from my take. I just want to.
Yeah, I mean, I never should. I never.
Go on. Is he froze or is it the sound?
I lost you there.
It's just the delay.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All good, Chris.
Yeah. So I mean, I should never have gone. Really, I should never have gone to. Yeah. Okay. I should never have gone to Portugal with Berry. I mean, I shouldn't have signed for him really, because I left Preston. And there was a few things along the way as well, like I said, about when you're feeling bad and then things happen. I was due to go back to Wigan in 2015, and I thought getting back to Wigan, where arguably I had the best period of my career, and I thought if I could get back to there, then hopefully things will start to get better mentally and off the pitch. And they messed us around, they messed us around big time when I went to go back there. And this comes back to loyalty in football. There's no loyalty in football anymore, and unfortunately, Wigan really messed me about with a move back there in 2015. I turned down other clubs to go to them, told them that I've got other clubs in the area that want to sign me. I need to get back home. Is this deal going to get done? And they said, yeah, come in, get it done. So I sorted the deal out at night, went in the next day to sign it. And they were faffing around with stuff and wanting to go for medical, which wasn't an issue because no matter what people think, I mean, my fitness record at Sheffield Wednesday was 97%, and that's including training, games, everything. I had the best record out of anyone. So, and that's with travelling every day as well. So there was no problem with my fitness, but they failed me on a medical for whatever reason. And that just knocked the stuffing out of me. I'd been at that club, gave everything for 6 years and thought I was going back there, and they shut the door. And obviously the other clubs that I had lined up gone, because once you turn them down and say, no, I'm signing for someone else, they don't want you back. And I signed for Preston, and I wasn't playing. I was going to be number 2, which at that time suited me because I didn't have the pressure of playing. But I left again. The same thing happened at Preston. I did well there. I played the last 6 or 7 games of the season, got offered a new deal, went in to sign it after the last game of the season, thinking I was signing a new contract. Got there and they told me that I was going because I was too old. So all these things just add to it again, and it's a smack around the mouth. And then I thought, what, I don't want to play anymore. I was in that bad a way. I didn't want to train. I didn't want to play. But the professional side kicks in. Then I think you think, right, I can get through this. I've always been a professional. I can get through it. Just get through it. Sign again. So I signed for Berry, which I knew wasn't going to last. The first day of pre-season, I was just dreading going in. I just didn't want to do it. The passion for football had gone. you know, the mental health had taken over massively by then, and just didn't want to do anything. Just literally didn't want to get out of bed. So I signed for them, and we went away Portugal pre-season, and yeah, I was on the top floor of the villas, and I just thought I can't take it anymore the way I'm feeling, and you know, I was going to jump, but then as you think about it, I thought about my daughter and my wife, and thought, no, I can't do that to them. I can't leave them without a dad and a husband, and that's when it's the seesaw, it's the old seesaw. You tip one way or you tip the other, and you know, thankfully I tipped the right way and got home the next day. Told Dave Flitcroft it was amazing, because he'd been through something similar when his dad died. He went through a real tough time. So I said to him, look, I'm struggling mentally. I need to get help. And he said, look, anything you need. Bury as a club were brilliant. You know, I got home, got in touch with the PFA, and that's where, you know, and once you do that, once you ask for the help, it's like a big weight off your shoulders.
Massively.
Because you think there's a way out, and you think people are there, you know, people are there to help you. And it was a massive weight off my shoulders. And yeah, but I didn't properly get the proper help I needed at that point. I sort of, you know, the FA were great. I had counselling sessions and bits and bobs, and for a year or so, as I said, a year and a half, so I was okay. But then started to slip back in, which is when I knew I needed to go into a place and properly get sorted out.
You talk so highly of your wife Leona and your daughter Lucy. They've helped you a hell of a lot, and I just want to stress how important partners are in all of this. You know, I don't think with men's mental health, I find it quite hard that people don't talk about the partners. You know, they go through this day in, day out, and you know, to me, they deserve so much listening to their partner, their man. You know, if they do open up, that's the big problem. If they do open up, it's very hard for women to deal with it. But your wife and Lucy, your daughter, seems to be very you seem to be a very open family, which is unbelievable, which is what we need more of.
Yeah, well, like you know, we got together over 20 odd years ago, so you know, without her and Lucy, obviously, you know, they say you've got to do it for yourself, and you have to, but we all think the same. You know, you do it for your family as well, and you do it for your loved ones. So, yeah, they've been amazing. It was tough for them because, you know, it's tough for you. It's horrendous for the person going through it, but it's just as tough for the people living with you, having to see the person they love struggling, and you know, it's just as difficult for them. So, yeah, she's you know, she's the rock of the family. She always has been. She holds us all together. And Lucy, we were open with Lucy. We were honest with her. We told her, you know, we said to her when I first went in, we said, look, you know, when Daddy was injured and he had a knee injury or, you know, a certain injury and you got treatment for it off the physio, well, we said to her, look, you know, Daddy's head's not great and he's going to go and get help for it, and people are going to help him get better. And she, you know, and I said, I might be away a few days here and a few days there. And Lucy just turned. I said, look, Dad, be away as long as you need to be. You need to get help and you need to get sorted out. And I want you to do that. And, you know, when your daughter says that to you, it gives you the motivation that you need. You know, so we were open with her because, you know, like I said, they say 1 in 4 suffer. It's not, you know, it's more like 3 in 4. So, you know, hopefully it won't happen, but there might be a time when she starts to feel down, and we wanted to know that she can ask for help and she can talk to us about anything. So we've always been honest with her about everything. You know, we've just got one of them relationships as a family that we, you know, we share everything, and thankfully we do. So, yeah, them two have been amazing.
No, fair play to them, you know. I think it's just wonderful to hear that, you know. It's blinding as far as I'm concerned, and it's fair play to Leona, your wife, and Lucy. You know, it's easy to pack up bags and walk away, isn't it? But to stay there and be by your man as he's struggling and be the rock, and you know that as a bloke, you know, you just go, mate, this is the woman for me. What a wonderful woman, you know. And you speak so highly of every Zoom call we've had. You've always spoke very, very highly of your wife. So, well, it's wonderful to see, and the support you got was unbelievable. Obviously, taking you down to North Wales. You were talking about the scenery and walking and so forth. How do you find walking and how do you find exercise? Do you find it calms you? Do you find it?
So what was that, mate?
How do you find walking and just going on a little ramble? How do you find
amazing.
it? you up for a 44-mile challenge?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, we're doing Kilimanjaro next July, so
yes, I see. Yes,
we're climbing Kilimanjaro next July. So, but listen, I've always walked. Yeah, I've always walked. I've had dogs all my life, so I've loved walking, love getting out in the fresh air. And yeah, I mean, I'm involved in this Watch Foundation now, which is walking and talking charity hikes with a few ex-footballers, Mark Crosley, Dean Windass, John Parkin, Steve Harry. There's a few of us now, and it's basically about walking, and how better you feel when you get out in the fresh air. Sometimes it's the last thing you want to do, but exercise is so key to mental health. It really is. Talking as well and exercise are the two things that you need to do. And some days you don't feel like doing it at all, but once you get out there, and now if I don't do something more or less every day, I feel lazy, I feel slobbish. So I've done, and since lockdown, I've probably done a lot more. I've been out on my road bike. I've got a watt bike in the front room. I go out walking all the time with the dog and the girls and biking. So yeah, exercise is massively key. And delighted that I'm part of this. It's getting bigger and bigger now. Simon Jordan's just come on board with us. He wants to come out and do it with us. I think we've got Darryl Farley doing it. We've got so many people. That Jim White from Sky Sports is going to do it as well. So it's going to be huge, and we're going to raise as much as we can for mental health charities and for certain parts of the NHS that's close to. We've all got charities that we want to donate to, but yeah, we're doing that next July, and it's all about walking and talking, and which is the two of the biggest things with mental health: exercise and talking. So we can't wait for that. I mean, it's a little bit slow at the minute because obviously with COVID we've had to put it on the back burner. We've not been able to do a lot of stuff we'd already wanted to do. But the first event is the 29th of September. We've got a golf day in Doncaster, which we've organised, and then there's charity football games, there's comedian nights. We've got a night with Jamie Carragher at Anfield, and all the proceeds are going to go to this. Yeah, all the proceeds are going to go to this charity, and then we're just going to raise as much as we can, and culminating in Mount Kilimanjaro next July, which we've just got all the information through. It's all booked now. We've got everything through for it, so we're looking forward to that.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That's amazing.
Oh, that'd be very fun. I'd love to do it. To be fair, I'll be right up there. Like we said, like cycling, we've done cycling from Fulham to Wigan, which is a long arse distance, mate. To be fair, it absolutely destroyed us, but we love it. Deacon, anything you want to say, sir?
Well, I think you briefly touched on it about your Get Started program.
Yeah.
I looked into it a little bit, and it's just a fantastic piece. I didn't obviously know too much about that. You're still working with Liverpool so closely. I know that you worked very briefly for the women's team, but you stepped down due to commitments of your academy, which is incredible. But the Get Started program just sounds absolutely amazing, and to hear obviously football clubs wanting to help the community and wanting to help ex-professional footballers through all sorts of walks of life is an incredible thing. As you, I don't know if you know, Chris, but we've spoken to a few footballers, Paul Moody, Paul Konchesky, and Marvin Sordell. Obviously, Paul Moody and Paul Konchesky are kind of your sort of era of football. Obviously, Paul Moody's in his 50s, so he's slightly more. But it was difficult. We got some sort of differencing answers in the idea that football clubs, it's difficult to talk about when you're going through a bad patch. So it's incredible that you were able to speak so openly and candidly as you have done this evening about your experiences. So it's great that football's trying to catch up to these things. Overall, it's great.
Yeah, well,
it is. I mean, listen, I'm not a massive fan of social media. I'm on Twitter, but I try and use it for the good. I mean, we've seen one of the biggest ones this week with Marcus Rashford. Yeah. He's used social media. He's called on the government to do the right thing with the meals for the vulnerable. And I was out yesterday delivering food for Daisy UK Inclusive in Everton. So I packed the food, and a few of the drivers didn't turn up. So I had my car. I said, listen, I'll deliver. So I delivered to about 20 houses. So I seen how important these foods are, food banks providing, you know, I dropped food off to families. They had kids that were answering the door, and it was heartbreaking to think that without these packages, they wouldn't be fed. You know, the kids wouldn't get food. So I seen firsthand yesterday just what Marcus Rashford's done. And that's why I said social media, sometimes you can use it for the good. A lot of stuff on there is, as we know, is cruel and can be toxic, but you can use it for the good. And what he's done is absolutely incredible. And we hope that a lot more people can do things. And that's why I did it, you know, with walking and talking and you know, doing the videos about mental health. You can use it for the good sometimes. And, you know, that's where social media can be beneficial to a lot of people. And like you're doing these shows now, you know, without these type of shows, it's a lot more open now. As you said, 2 or 3, it's probably only been more open in the last 12 to 18 months with mental health. Now people are not afraid to talk about it. You turn on the TV, you turn on the radio every day. There's a station that will be doing something on mental health. There's, you know, it's constant now. It's every day, which it needs to be. Because like I said, it's not 1 in 4. It's more like 3 in 4 will suffer with mental health. And the more people, we've seen a lot of players come out now, but it's easy saying that until you're actually ready and until you feel able to. It's the last thing you want to do. You know, you just feel as though until you get to that tipping point where you need to ask for help sometimes. And there'll be players and there'll be people that won't ask for help and think they can't do that. And, you know, one of the biggest things, though, I didn't do it for, yes, I owe everything to football. You know, I've been in the game for well over 25 years. So, but it was for society as well. I did it for, you know, for Joe Bloggs down the pub or around the supermarket. It was for everyone. And that I thought I can use my profile to try and raise mental health. And now, thankfully, there's a lot more people doing it, a lot more shows. You know, Sky are all over it, Talk Sport. There's always shows now that, you know, I must have done 50, 60 shows over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And you wouldn't have done that. Like, you go back 2 years, these shows wouldn't have been doing that like yours are now. It's just now it's the norm, and it should be everyday life. People should feel more comfortable to ask for help and talk things through.
When I started campaigning for Calm 5 years ago, it was literally, I was speaking about it because the more I spoke about it, the more happier I was with it, and the more people were responding to me and opening up to me. And I was like, why are we all talking about this? What is going on? And obviously, you got a hell of a lot of negativity about things, and people were like, "Oh, you got to man up, you got to do this, you got to do that." And I was like, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. I want to fight for what I believe in. And obviously, we walked to Reading for the first time, and from Fulham to Reading, and that was it. It just kick-started something that really galvanized people. And the messages I received were people that were speaking out for the first time ever. And my best pal phoned me after a TV show I did, and he was in tears, calling me up saying, "I've got a problem too. Let's talk." And we were talking, and I thought, if me and him can't talk, there's no chance of me talking to anybody else. What's going on? So it was just born, and like it said, Chris, within the last 12 to 18 months, totally changed, and for
in the right way,
for the better. Yeah, for the better, definitely, 150%.
Yeah, thankfully, but it's got to carry on. And I think it will do now. I think it will do. I think it will carry on. I don't think it's just going to be a stop-start thing. I think it'll be constant now. I think there's more than enough people now aware of it. You know, we talk about radio stations, TV stations, you know, things like that, your station as well, what you do. I think there's, you know, more and more people now are doing it. And I think it will be an ongoing thing now every single day, which is what we want. You know, for people to feel comfortable to come on Zoom sessions, to join groups, you know, men and women and children if we can, because, you know, there's a lot of children that suffer from an early age now at school through whatever pressures, exams or the home life, or, you know, I've seen a lot of stuff over the last year or so with the foundation that some stories are just heartbreaking, and you know, the more we can help people at all ages, the better.
Yeah, definitely, Chris. I can't thank you enough. This is how good, right? I'm gonna end on a really high good note. Over lockdown, I put a picture on Facebook. This group I'm in with a football club I used to play for when I was 15. I'm now 37, and the manager got in touch, and subsequently we're all speaking again. We've all got each other back again after 20 years. We're all going out for a drink, and that was a very good friend of mine, James, who I ain't seen for 20 years. We ain't seen each other for 20 years. We had a Zoom call every Saturday night. It is just phenomenal to see everybody again. It's probably gave me a massive boost, and being open with them and speaking to them, it's just unbelievable. And the majority of them spoke back to me and said they suffered as well. So it just goes to show it's going to happen to anybody at any given time, no matter who you are. You could be a football player, you could be the dustman, you could be a nurse, you could be a podcaster, you could be anything. This is critical that we keep talking and just keep our ears on each other and our eyes on each other, and understand that people are going through a lot of stuff, and just be there and understand and reach out and help each other. He's gone.
Oh, no. Chris!
Don't come back.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's gone.
The connection died at the last moment, eh? The connection died at the last moment. I didn't get to ask him a couple of questions. I wanted to ask him what was the best striker he ever played against and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. That's unfortunate, but he's signal trouble. He just messaged me signal trouble. Don't know what, mate. We
were gonna wrap it up anyway and ask some silly questions, but we were gonna wrap it up anyway. I have to first say,
he's back in the room.
Oh, is he back in the room?
He's back in the room. Device at the stream. There,
Chris, welcome back.
Might be a delay.
He's back.
I don't know if you can see it, but can you see the storm?
We're going to get a live update on the storm. Oh, yeah. You can see. Is that rain coming down?
The storm's come back bigger than before.
Look, the rain coming down. Woo!
I've got, mate.
I've got you, mate.
It's coming back bigger than before. Yeah.
No problem.
Can you see it?
It's crazy. Oh yeah, it's absolutely bucketing down by the looks of things. Surely he's played in worse. That's very fair. Oh.
It's.
Are we here?
Yeah, we are here. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Chris?
Just messaging you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Chris. Can you hear me?
Nah. I'll just message him.
Yeah, it's the weather's killed it again.
Just take over for 2 seconds, Steve.
Not a problem. I think we can all safely say that we thanking Chris so profusely, the fact that he was so open and he took, obviously we've had some delays and some technical issues as well due to the storm and everything like that. But the fact that he was just so open about certain things that I couldn't even really find in the media as well. Sometimes they'll, the media, they like to pick apart people's lives. I've been a victim of that. And, footballers, that's unfortunately, their everyday life sometimes, especially when you want to put your head in the sand and get away from it all. So the fact that he was so open about it, and the fact that as well that times are changing with football, it's ever evolving, ever adapting. And he pretty much nailed it, 12 to 18 months. I think that's pretty much nailed it for me as well. The fact that it's been that recent where they're trying to make changes, because the conversations of Moody and Konchesky and stuff, it just felt like it was just completely another world in comparison to what he's talking about.
Fair play to the Bury manager, Dave Fairclough.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that.
Very open. And then you look at Marvin last week, who, again, where did he turn? Marvin's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. A really, really honest, good guy. He didn't feel like he could turn anywhere or do anything. Chris was sensational, very open, very honest, which we asked for. And I'm looking forward to next
But I get blown away by that, though, Lee. Chris seems like the most loveliest guy ever, but he doesn't owe us a story. He doesn't owe it. He just feels like he needs to say it to be able to help even just one person, to feel like that person can then go and seek help for themselves. Because by the sounds of things, he suffered from depression. He was very open about that. Obviously, the experience on the balcony as well, very open about that. As I've said before, I'm still struggling to talk about my experience. of what I went through when I was 22 years old, which is a good 11 years ago now. But he was so open about it because he wants to be able to help. And the fact that he is who he is and still wants to help, and it just speaks volumes of his character.
Oh, massive volumes of character for the man. You know, he's just messaged me, said, if you want to redo the interview again, we can rearrange it. You know,
I love him.
The storms come back. That's just amazing.
Well, I love him. We'll get him on another time, and we can have a chat with him some other time if he's happy to do that, because that'd be awesome. I'll be able to ask my question.
We need to engage. I need to engage in more of the chat over here. I need to engage in it. Sorry, people. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, we apologise. Obviously, we were trying to deal with obviously the delay and everything like that. I think that wreaked havoc with being able to ask him generally any questions. I know that I think Sean asked a PFA question, and naturally Chris just answered.
I knew where it was going. I knew where it was going.
Like, Chris knows what he's doing. He doesn't even know where this chat is, but he's like answering the question just organically. I was like, well done, Chris. So
what? I think that's us done for today's episode.
Yeah.
If you check www.walkandtalkmmh tomorrow at 12, you will find out who next week's guest is.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're doing the reveal on the website. That's fantastic. What a great idea, guys. Go and check out the website. Definitely go and check out the website, guys. As I said, www.walkandtalkmmh.co.uk. It's a very clean and crisp, very easy for you to navigate as well. It's fantastic. It looks brilliant. So kudos to obviously Lee, Nicola, and Dave as well, that obviously got involved and sorted it all out, because it looks incredible. Even just the opening, the opening image is very warming and welcoming, which is exactly what Walk and Talk and Sit and Talk is all about. So yeah, stay tuned for who we got next week. Another fantastic guy. I won't reveal too much, but Lee will obviously reveal that tomorrow at 12. Did you say?
I'm going to say 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, right on at midday. I like it.
Midday, 12 o'clock, bang. It'll be on there under Sit and Talk, under the bracket Sit and Talk. We'll be there. Thank you, Deacon, as always, and thank you.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, Lee. Absolute pleasure. Chris is another guy that we've got to meet up with it if we can after all of this lockdown.
Don't you understand how, to me as a football fan, you as a football fan, and everybody else who's watching this as a football fan, think that these football players are untouchable. They're invincible. They are the most down-to-earth, easy-going people. We'll meet up with Chris, no doubt, no question about it. We'll meet up with him. We're going to meet up with Paul. We'll meet up with Marvin. We'll meet up with Moody. There's loads of other players that want to come on, so it's all good. It's just keep the flow going. If you can subscribe.
Of course. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, guys, please do that. And if you haven't already, hit the like button as well. It really, really helps us as well. Any sort of positive exposure that we can get, so we can get some more people in here, because at the end of the day, we're all here to help each other. And if we can help someone that's not in this community, that's just found us randomly, and then that person, we've either helped that person or they can then forward us to the person that they feel like they can help, then we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing.
Till next week, buddy. It's been a pleasure. It's been a blast as always. Missing you already, sir.
There we go.
Keep talking, people, and keep smiling.
That's it.